But I want to thank everybody making the time for coming through tonight. This is Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this every Tuesday and Friday here on YouTube. We are at BIDWKB on Twitch. Shout out to everyone that checks us out on Twitch. We love you guys so much. At Burn It Down KB on Twitter, BIDWKB, Facebook, Instagram, etc., etc. So last night was the first of the, I believe, 3 scheduled presidential debates. Not a usual time to have a debate on the presidential side in June of the election year. Usually the primaries are still happening, but in America, we live under a farce of a democracy, right? All of this rhetoric about protecting democracy. Well, I'm sorry, look at the democracy that we're protecting, a two-person race to elect someone within a two-party duopoly, which is basically selecting an elite or another elite. Look at us with the choices. They said democracy is dead. Fuck out of here. We got choices out here, everybody. And our choices are an 81-year-old and a 78-year-old, which is ridiculous. So it's Trump, 77, 78, 80. You might as well say fucking 80. I mean, no disrespect to the 77-year-olds watching. Shout out to certain people I know who are 77 and watching, but it's 80. Okay. It's 80. You might as well just go ahead and tell people you're 80 and let people think that you look great for 80, which is great. But anyway, several things came up, and also, by the way, I wanted to let you guys know we're going to be taking a look at some of the protest scenes that came out of Atlanta outside of the CNN studios where the presidential candidates were, quote, debating. Big up to all the organizations that went down there and did that. And we're going to take a look at that here in a second. But I want us to go ahead first and take a look at a couple of clips of the debate. Now, let me just say this real quick. The talk is all about Biden's poor performance, okay? And Joe Biden, if you saw it, Joe Biden did not look what I would call with it, nor did he sound what I would call with it. We all saw what we saw, okay? And I can only blame Joe Biden's handlers for that. I can only blame whoever the fuck chief of staff is and Corinne Jean-Pierre. Everybody that's around Joe Biden needs to slap themselves upside the head, because y'all know good and goddamn well in what world is an 81-year-old ready for prime time at fucking 9 o'clock, starting at 9 o'clock, mind you, starting at 9 o'clock. Bitch, I am 45. I am done for by 10:30. Okay. And Joe Biden got 40 fucking years on me. So who thought it was a good idea to send Joe Biden out there seemingly sober, which clearly was a mistake? I don't see how Joe Biden was not heavily juiced on Four Loko or motherfucking what was Joe Rogan's caffeine drink that they banned? what was Jake Paul's caffeine drink that they banned? They should have been putting that shit in the IV in Joe Biden's arm right before he went on stage, because that nigga was out there sober and he should not have been. He absolutely should not have been sober. It was sad to see. And I've even seen some Trump supporters express sort of, a pity on Joe Biden because he did look that bad. But as bad as Biden looked, it is overshadowing the fact that Donald Trump, I don't think, is capable of lucid thought. I don't think that Donald Trump himself is all that mentally coherent. When asked direct questions, Trump started to ramble and he would abruptly change subjects several times within the same sentence, as though someone could follow this very scattered train of thought and line of thinking. As much as Biden is getting critiqued today, I think Trump needs to be getting that same kind of critique, because yeah, he sounded strong, but did he sound well? Did he sound like you could understand, like you were able to comprehend the points that he was trying to make? Not really. And again, when asked about specific questions, Trump could not make it happen. Could not make it happen. So where are we going to begin here? What do I have here? It says Trump's. Okay, now this was one of my favorite moments, because Trump started to go on to inflation, which I actually thought was a sensible topic to discuss, even though you know, facts, schmacks. When the fact checkers checked both Trump and Biden, everybody was lying. So, we can't take people at their word, but we can at least try to glean a smidgen of entertainment value from this. So, Trump and Biden start to spar over the inflation rate, which everybody knows is exorbitant. If you go to the grocery store, it's a joke. Try to order some food. Ha ha. That shit is even funnier. Right. But then Trump starts to meander about the jobs and about how undocumented folks are stealing, quote, the black jobs. So let's cue that clip up. And we're going to play all of Trump's response. And when they switch over to Biden, let's pause it. Okay. All right, you guys. So Trump's about to start off about inflation, but he's going to close with the black jobs. He's going to close talking about the black jobs, and I'm interested in the black jobs. Let's get to the black jobs. Let's go, Will.
Caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
Hit that pause for me, Will. All right, you guys, you heard Trump there saying that Biden has been a pox upon what he is doing to the black people. Go on, Mr. Trump. You had me at let me tell you what Biden is doing to the black people, because Biden has done a fuck ton to the black people. I am the black people. Let me tell you, Joe Biden has done tremendous harm in his policies as a senator, the shit that he co-signed on as vice president to Barack Obama. And even now as president, Joe Biden is dropping the ball on a number of issues pertaining to black folks. But for Trump himself, also bad for black people. Trump, whilst a billionaire, took out a front page ad in the New York Times decrying the come on, Ear Doctor. Hold on. No, y'all gonna hear this because Ear Doctor playing games now. Hold on. What's up, Ear Doctor?
What's good? Hey, yo, I'm trying to put in an order for food. What kind of sandwich you want?
Nigga, I want a sandwich when niggas realize that I'm on the air. That's the sandwich I want. That's the sandwich I want. Can I get one of them sandwiches? It's called Kim is live on the air. Can I get one of them sandwiches? Give me a medium.
All right, real quick. You want veggies? You want a crab cake? Or you want a chicken? Or what? Stop playing. Real quick, I got you.
I don't give me some chicken tenders and fries. They can keep it basic.
All right, I'll get you a chicken sandwich later.
Peace. Thank you.
Pick up. Oh, y'all hit the like button.
Yo, Ear Doctor. Shout out to Ear Doctor.
Yo.
You should have got a crab cake, bro.
Ear Doctor. I mean, Jesus.
Chill.
Well, first of all, you from here. You can't get crab cakes from everywhere. See, that's the mistake. I'm ashamed.
He in Baltimore, right? He in Baltimore.
Them niggas is not in Baltimore. Them niggas is
okay, my bad.
They's in Nova. They's in Nova.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay. So I was all right, go ahead. I'm gonna mind my business.
Oh, we gonna have
Ear Doctor, shout out to Ear Doctor though. That's hilarious. Hit the like button.
You see what I'm doing with? I told y'all them niggas don't watch my show. I told y'all this numerous times. No, like I love to see my people when they be on the Steve Wilkos show. They be like, my man, he done cheated on me numerous of times. I said, oh my God, please say numerous of times again, because that's like my favorite shit. I told you, I've been telling y'all numerous of times these niggas do not watch my fucking program, but that's okay. I don't take it personally. But anyway, what was I? Will, you're gonna have to edit this motherfucking clip. Anyway, fucking Trump. I'm sorry, the black jobs. Let's get to the black jobs. He said that Biden has been a disaster for the black family. I do not disagree. Trump himself probably not much better. But what are the black jobs? I'm desperately confused. When Trump says that 17 million migrants, I don't know, did he say 18, 19 million? Like, again, let this debate, this exchange be a crystal clear example of how whatever you thought this American experiment was, it's quickly coming to a close because we have outright abandoned common sense. We have abandoned basic facts. And for the highest office in the land is being debated seriously and in real time and in front of us all by two people who don't really give a fuck if what comes out of their mouths is true or it's factual or if it's accurate. And perhaps that's always been the case. And maybe we're just seeing this way more blatantly and glaringly. and maybe our consciousness is a bit elevated. So maybe now we better understand what we are looking at if maybe we didn't get it in previous presidential contests before, but it is crystal clear on the page now. So when Trump is talking about the black jobs, I can only assume he means slave labor, right? Surely he is referring to some sort of plantation work, be it out in the fields, be it operating, heavy machinery, be it road construction. I'm not really sure what he means by the black jobs and the quote Hispanic jobs, though I am curious who he thinks are taking the black and the Hispanic jobs. Who do you think's coming across the southern border? But it's folks who are in search of opportunity and who are willing to work, and they don't need to be dehumanized and brutalized by the likes of the Trump administration and by the Biden administration, by the way, who has upheld a large majority of Trump's border policies. Okay. Joe Biden has not done much here to change that. But anyway, let's get to Joe Biden. Let's take a look at Joe Biden, guys. Look at this guy. Didn't I tell you guys? The sign to me that America was failing or coming to a close wasn't when Trump got elected. It was when they elected Biden. Because Biden's a loser. Okay. Biden is it. I can't believe that he even lived long enough to be president. But let's listen to what he had to say in response to inflation.
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy, absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, the ACA has increased. I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for the health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. You find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Yeah, there is a lot going on, and it's way more than just a cold, as asserted by Team Biden. Oh, that's why the president was somewhat semi-unresponsive and barely coherent. He had a cold. Well, who the fuck brought this 81-year-old man a goddamn cold up there at Camp David? Y'all knew good and goddamn well. They keep telling us COVID is out here marching around the country once again. What's up, Will? What you back here for?
I'm sorry. He sound like he Tales from the Crypt. I don't know why he talking like that loud pack.
That loud pack, man. Joe Biden. Obviously neither one of them have any business being president, right? But it's not about that, because what I think we all understand is that whoever is elected to the White House is not who's really in charge here, right? We all understand that the presidency is is a puppet and someone else is absolutely pulling the strings from behind the scenes. So maybe it didn't even fucking matter which one of these yahoos it ends up getting elected or reelected in November, because neither one of them have the capacity to make full-on decisions, but they don't have to, as long as they have the ability to sign shit and to authorize things. They can be told and convinced to do a lot of things, and they don't have to be old to do that. But in this case, they are definitely um somewhat vulnerable elders, right? um the other part about that debate that I think was another example of how we are in the ends stages. Capitalism is drawing its last breaths, clutching, trying to hold on to power for as long as it can, for as long as it can. The performance of the moderators, I think, was abysmal. I think it was very telling. And I think it was revelatory of the state of American journalism. You had Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, better known as Fake Tapper. I heard one of the black conservatives actually call him Fake Tapper. I said, I like that. I said, okay. Yeah, I see. Again, the only conservatives that can kind of get off somewhat okay zingers are the black ones, right? The white ones just be corny. And not to say that the black ones don't be corny, because them niggas be corny as shit. But I will take Fake Tapper and I will chuckle at Fake Tapper. So you had Dana Bash and Fake Tapper literally just asking questions, repeating the questions, making Biden and Trump aware of the time that they had remaining on their answers. There were no follow-up questions. There was no real fact checking at any point. And that's how American journalism is. You ask the question, whatever answer you get is the answer. You don't follow up, you don't challenge, you don't, with any forceful way, try to compel these politicians to answer your questions directly. I did hear Data Bash and Fake Tapper, like, for example, when Trump was asked about what he intends to do about climate change. Actually, is that the clip that I have here, Will? That might be the one. Hold on. Let's maybe look at this clip, because again, it was, I was like, wow, we're just doing this, which is literally nothing. Huh, mainstream journalists. See, this is why I don't fuck with CNN. I do not fuck with MSNBC. I mean, yes, not fucking with Fox News is a given. I do that for shits. I might watch Fox for shits and gigs, but just to see what the Klan line is. What does the Klan got to say today? Let me go to Fox and see what they talking about. But no, the mainstream cable news is absolute garbage. And last night was part and parcel of why or how that is. And we got to see that very, very clearly. So, actually, this is I wrote this down. The description that I wrote for this clip is that Trump and Biden spar over who was the least senile and over their golf game. Okay, that's that clip. Hold on, real quick. So when Trump was at, and I don't have this, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't pull this, but when Trump was asked directly about what he intends to do about climate change, he says, I want H2O. I want the most perfect H2O, the most pristine water, the cleanest air. And then he diverged off to another tangent that had absolutely nothing to do with climate change. And Dana Bash came back and said, I just wanted to, she came and tried to ask the question again. He gave a 3-second answer and then proceeded to go off topic and start rambling once again. And then that was the answer. That was the answer. And that was Trump's response on climate change. That was Trump's response on the election results, whether or not he will honor them, even if he loses. That was his response when asked directly about the cost of childcare. For as much as Biden appeared to be clearly diminished, sundowning, if you will, right? I'm sorry. Trump was just more forceful and clear with the strength and command of his voice. His answers were no more coherent or logical than Joe Biden's answers. And everyone keeps saying that Trump won the debate. Nigga, was y'all listening to Trump? Because I didn't see how Trump won it outright. It just seemed like everybody lost. So anyway, here these old geezers go, joning on each other about who got the most smarts, who got the most marbles left. And then it devolves into what I thought was the most honest part of the entire night is when you have two elderly, powerful white men of some means getting the most personal when it comes to shit talking each other's golf game. I said, I said, this is peak American leadership right fucking here. Will, let's take a look, please.
To take a cognitive test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took another one, a similar one. And one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Oh, you said 6'4", 200.
He's
So anyway, that's what you're. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie that he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I had, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
Let's not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
21
Let's not act like children.
Guys, the ease in which Joe Biden very casually told us that during his 8 years as vice president of the United States, he managed to get his golf handicap down to 6. Nigga, what the fuck was you doing as vice president? You was just out there working on your goddamn golf game. Is that what I'm to understand here, Joe Biden? Get the entire fuck out my goddamn face. And then here come Trump. Can I say this though? I honestly feel as though Trump took it easy on Joe Biden. I feel as though when Joe Biden was muttering and mumbling and barely audible, incomprehensible. I don't know what the point he was trying to. Well, I think I get with the joke he was trying to make about Trump's height and weight is that clearly at 6'4", Trump definitely does not weigh 235 pounds. Like, okay, but so what? What does that have to do with the topic at hand? And then here they go switching it over to golf. And guys, if you guys know anything about the elites, if you spend any time around them, you know that golf is the gentleman's game. That is where a lot of power deals, business, political, otherwise, are negotiated, right? Which is why, part of the reason patriarchy dominates all of these elite systems and all these elite institutions, because they do shit, that only men of a certain class or a certain social status are conditioned to do, right? And then, to prove my point about golf, you'll see a lot of women and non-white men trying to take up golf because why? They know that that's where the fucking real action, that's where the real power is broken, on the golf course, without a golf cart or with one. And Joe Biden trying to tell Trump, I'll play with you if you carry your own bags. Why would a white man of Donald Trump's stature ever carry his own golf bag? That defeats the point of being Trump, Joe Biden. So anyway, it was just a very sad state of affairs. And it apparently has gotten some in the Democratic Party spaces very afraid that Joe Biden is not going to be able to compete in this election. Whether or not Joe Biden even has the mental capacity to serve a second term. And I'm like, but Joe Biden is the president today. I mean, is nobody not worried about the hands being capable of leadership like on today? Like we just worried about November and 2025 and beyond. No one's worried about, right now with Joe Biden at the helm. But one of the things that I wanted one of the journalists, the quote journalists, I don't even know what to call these folks. One of the things I wanted them to follow up on when it came to, oh man, I should have pulled that clip. But when they mentioned Israel and Palestine, and Trump, I believe, what did he say? He said he said he called Biden a Palestinian, but then he said he wasn't a good one because he's weak. He's not a good Palestinian. Oh, okay. But he also said that Israel should finish the job. And I thought that that was a statement worthy of follow up from some fucking body, because what does that mean? When we look at the scope of destruction that the Israeli forces have committed in Gaza, the scale of mass murder properly described as genocide, when we look at the destruction of Palestine's institutions, hospitals, places of worship, neighborhoods, educational places, like when Trump says he wants Israel to finish the job, does that mean the final solution? Like I'm being dead ass serious, because we know Trump is a fucking Nazi, a fucking Klansman. That's not beyond the pale to think that Trump would actually mean exactly that, the final solution for the Palestinians, when he says Israel should finish the job. See, this is what I'm saying, and you guys already know this, but there are no good options, not just for the folks in Gaza, but really for everybody when it comes to whoever's going to be the next president of the United States. Because at the end of the day, they have stylistic differences. They have different decorum approaches, to wielding the levers of power, right? But at the end of the day, they're both going to stick up and ride for capitalism. They're going to make sure that the American military industrial complex has all the billions and trillions of funding that could ever want or need. They are also going to make sure that the environment continues to take a back seat in debates like these, as we are seeing the results and the effects of climate change literally wreak havoc and force emergency declaration disasters across the country, for floods, for wildfires, for extreme temperatures. And yet, the two people competing for the nation's highest spot, no one has any fucking answers for that shit, right? Don't ask why the kids are despondent. Don't ask why the kids are in the street. They see the writing on the wall. They look at Joe Biden and Donald Trump and realize that neither one of these people, neither one of these parties, neither one of these party ideologies is invested, nor do they give a fuck about the future of the youth. And even us, the middle youths, the middle-aged youths. Oh my God. Anyway, I do worry about becoming an older person in this country. Like, I think, don't say the old people don't have it great now, but I can see, in 15 years when I'm 60. Shit. But anyway, when I said the kids are in the streets, the kids were literally in the streets down there in Atlanta outside of CNN studios. Hundreds, maybe even thousands mobilized to express their disapproval, their displeasure, their outright contempt for both candidates. And also, the folks in Atlanta assembled in the streets in order to express their solidarity for Palestine, and to also sort of point out that, number one, there's a couple things, because we're gonna hear from some folks here. We're gonna take a look at some of the protest scenes, but then we're gonna hear from Reverend Kiana Jones. She was on the scene talking about the collaborations between the Israeli military and police forces in Georgia, and why it's important to make sure that people understand those connections. And we're also going to hear from presidential candidate Claudia de la Cruz, who was in Atlanta, though not on the debate stage. And I want you guys to really hear what Claudia had to say. So, let's take a look at the protest scenes, the action that happened outside of CNN studios during the first presidential debate of 2024. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free
what does Israel have to do with Cop City? Well, we are calling for an end to the Georgia International Law Enforcement Exchange, which brings the same Israeli occupation forces that are murdering Palestinian children right here to Georgia to train our police officers, and then they turn around and murder black children in the street. They murder unarmed citizens simply because they refuse to sign a parking ticket. We are calling for an end to the genocide, not only in Palestine, but here in Atlanta, because we realize this connection is one that cannot be denied.
There is no lesser of two evils when both Biden and Trump have backed the slaughter and genocide of Palestinian people, not only in the last 9 months, but over the last 76 years. There is no lesser of two evils when both Biden and Trump have built their political careers backed by corporations, Wall Street bankers, and the billionaires of this country. The people cannot afford to have the worst two people in this country, a war criminal and a corporate billionaire, be the only options for the highest office in this country. Regardless of who wins this debate tonight, the people will continue to suffer poverty, housing crises, lack of access to health care, because in this debate, there is no winning for the people. The winning for the people happens in our struggle against the capitalist system that they defend. The Vote Socialist campaign believes that we have to end the dictatorship of the billionaires, that we need to take the profit motive of Wall Street bankers, of corporations, and PACs like AIPAC out of politics completely. Whatever the outcome come November, our battle is the battle for democratic rights, one that we're committing to fight and win.
Claudia de la Cruz, everybody. And when I was perusing Claudia's Twitter feed, she said that her campaign is actually on the ballot, and I believe she said 20 states, including the state of Georgia. So that puts her campaign potentially at a threshold that they could possibly, in theory, maybe, achieve the amount of electoral votes needed to secure a victory, right? And it is, again, interesting, not surprising at all, but predictable, not interesting. Maybe it's not interesting at all, but it's just amazing to me how third-party candidates continue to be overlooked, omitted, not paid attention to. And even when they are able to meet the metrics that would get them on the stage, I'm not sure what the polling metrics may have been, but again, I don't know in the ways in which some of these polls are being conducted, right? If you're doing presidential polls, trying to figure out presidential popularity, et cetera, and you're not even mentioning all of the people on the ballot, then you're setting an impossible standard for people to meet. You know what I'm saying? How can I poll if you're not even include me in the fucking poll? how can I hit the poll numbers if you're not even telling the people that I'm out here? So please be sure to follow Claudia de la Cruz and her ongoing campaign to let people know that there are other options out here. I saw RFK Jr. also, crying. Claudia wasn't crying. Claudia was giving the people the business, but RFK was crying. He was crying that he ain't get up there. A white man of his stature, how dare they? Don't they know who his daddy was? That's some bullshit. So, and of course, Dr. West wasn't up there either. So it's a two-horse race per the mainstream media. So if you want to do your part to disrupt, either pay attention to the uncommitted campaign, in which a lot of folks are going to be voting uncommitted. But to be honest, I've been voting uncommitted for a while. We just wasn't calling it that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have not been voting for president for some time, but I do show up to vote on election day because there's more shit than just president on the ballot. But I think I've either written in myself, Ghostface Killer. How have I not written in Redman? Redman will be an outstanding president. So consider Reggie Noble on as part of your write-in. But fuck, if you see Claudia on the ballot, vote for Claudia. Wherever you are, it's not a vote wasted. Okay. There is no winner here for Trump and Biden. There are so few issues in which these presidents and their policies actually differ. Obviously, abortion being a big one, right? But at the same time, the Democrats have not shown us historically that they're willing to move in any way federally meaningfully. And especially they chose not to move on cementing the right to access to abortion care in federal law when they had the White House and Congress at different points in time, even when Obama was still president. No interest in doing that, but they like to continue to make it an election issue. This is the most important issue of the election. It is a very important issue, but at the same time, the rights to access abortion as reproductive care that went away under Joe Biden. Okay, it went away under Joe Biden, and it's amazing how many rights tend to evaporate when the Democrats occupy the White House. It's just funny how that works. Um, so be looking forward, I suppose, to two more debates. Joe Biden's going to have his drug cocktail way more together by then. They showed him today. Where was Biden? I think he was in North Carolina. Do I have that right, chat? Biden was in North Carolina at a rally. Looked a lot better. Again, clearly the drugs that he must have declined on on debate night. He accepted them shits to go to that North Carolina rally because he sounded way more with it, way more alert. And again, the president is not suffering, or was not on debate night, suffering from a cold. Okay. You cannot wheel out 81-year-old people at 9 o'clock at night. And I'm not even being funny. I'm being dead ass fucking serious because I just don't think that was a realistic expectation that Joe Biden would have a good performance because old folks go to bed early. Y'all don't know this? Everybody knows this. My granny lived to be 92. When she was in her 80s, granny was in the bed by the time the sun went down. Okay. In fact, well, I was only around her in the summertime, but so summertime, sun going down like 8:30, granny is absolutely in the bed by 8:30. Now she's not asleep, she's sitting up watching or listening to the ball game either on the radio or watching the Cardinals on TV, right? Granny's awake but she is in the bed. Joe Biden would have that was just a look of a man who really wanted to be in the bed. Even if he was just sitting up watching the ball game, right? That looked like a motherfucker who really wanted to be in the bed. And all of his people knew this, and shame on them for trotting out that man sober, sober like that, for him to fall flat on his face in that way. But I just don't want, I want you guys to just remind people, as bad as they say that Joe Biden sounded, which he did, as bad as they say Joe Biden looked, which he absolutely did. The only difference between Trump and Biden was the strength of their voice. When it comes to the substance of their answers and the coherency of their thoughts and shit, them niggas was about neck and neck. They was about neck and neck, if that, right? So anyway, fuck them niggas, both them niggas, a pox on both their houses. Let me take a quick break here before we get into the jam, get into the jam.